Hello, my name's Stuart. I'm going to talk about conspiracy theorists, my perspective, how to deal with them. They've become a very irritating presence on the internet, and not only on the internet, but in real life as well. And I talk about somebody whose best friend is a conspiracy theorist, and on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being me not being inclined to believe conspiracy theories, and 10 being somebody who goes as far as to believe that the earth is flat when all the science proves that it isn't. He's a 10. So what do you do? What do you do with somebody, particularly if it's somebody that you see, somebody that you know, and they're into conspiracy theories? Now, when I talk about somebody who's into conspiracy theories, I'm not talking about somebody who believes that there are things going on in the background, there are dishonest things going on in the background, there are people kind of conspiring to, fix prices in supermarkets and that kind of thing. And let's face it, Tony Blair and George Bush, we both know that they conspired to get the war going against Iraq with this document which claimed there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, and it turned out not to be true. I'm not talking about those kind of conspiracies. I'm talking about the real wacko theories, the reptilian theories, flat earth, chemtrails, the Great Reset, the pandemic, the idea that the world's most wealthy people are trying to reduce the population of the earth to about 400 million. All these things, and that's what I'm talking about. Nanotechnology and vaccines, all this kind of thing. 5G caused all sorts of issues and illnesses and COVID, etc. So you've got people that you meet in everyday life, people that you know who might believe in some of these things, and then you've got people who are online. Now, the online conspiracy theorists you can more or less ignore. You might be somebody who goes and comments on a YouTube comments page and does battle with these people. I wouldn't recommend that. I wouldn't recommend that at all. It's a complete waste of time. You will never ever be able to persuade them that maybe they're wrong. And the reason for that is they will always have a trump card for whatever you say. So in the end, when you talk about the experts, when you talk about academia and all the research and all the science proves this and proves that, they will say, well, of course they would, because they're making money out of it. They're making a living, and they're not going to go against the consensus because there's too much money in it. That's how they get their salaries. That's how they get their salaries. Okay, when you get into that kind of situation, what you're doing is you're writing off all the experts in the world because they're only sticking to a certain narrative because they get money out of it. Well, if that was the case, I would have thought that some of them would have broken ranks. Some of them would have left some kind of anonymous notes. For example, when a famous scientist dies, I would think they might leave something behind, have a bit of a conscience, leave something with a lawyer to say, oh, well, actually, the earth is flat. It's all one big conspiracy. The earth is not a globe. There are aliens ruling over the planet. I had to keep quiet because, etc., etc. Of course, conspiracy theorists will say, no, well, they won't say that because they know that the elite will come after their families and shoot them all down. So you see, what I'm saying is you will get to any level of absurdity with a conspiracy theorist where they will just go on believing, they will invent any kind of scenario to support the deluded world that they live in. Now, my friend, every time I meet him, we'll have a completely reasonable conversation about other things, and then he'll say something like, he'll start looking at the sky, and he'll say, this is at night time, those constellations, look, those constellations have been exactly the same ever since I was a boy and I saw those constellations. For example, Orion looks exactly the same as it did 60 years ago when I was a boy, why don't the constellations change? Now this is absolute madness. This is absolute madness. They present something like that, thinking that they can get you on board to validate their nonsense. They think that if they can present one point which seems to contradict for example, globe Earth or that kind of thing, something which has been well established by science, that they can somehow find a chink in your armor of rationality. They can somehow expose all the flaws and get you onto their side. If a conspiracy theorist says a scientific point to me, I'll say, well, hold on a minute, I'm not a scientist. Let's take this to a university. Let's go to a university and let's have them analyse what you've said. And let them deal with it, because I'm not a scientist, you're making a scientific point. Let's go and do that. Now, quite often when they say something which is scientific, I can deal with it. Like I can deal with the thing about the constellations. And obviously the reason is that the constellations do change, but over millions of years. They don't change over tens of years, because the distances are so vast and these planets are so far away from each other, the stars are so far away from each other, that they appear to be the same over decades, but not over millions of years. 100 million years ago, the Orion constellation looked completely different. So, I mean, I can deal with that. I mean, I can deal with a lot of it, but I don't really see why I should. And I think it's arrogant and unreasonable of conspiracy theorists to go to their friends and try to convince them that their theories are true. Look, even if you could convince me that the Earth is flat, that doesn't make the Earth flat. I'm the wrong person to convince. The people you've got to convince, you've got to submit your papers and you've got to prove it scientifically and get it accepted by the scientific organisations. Of course, they'll come back to this old chestnut, well, it's all about money, and they'll never accept the truth because there's too much money in it for them. I can't live in that kind of paranoid mindset, in that kind of paranoid world that they live in, that everybody's lying to them because there's too much money in it, or their family and everybody they know will be shot dead or killed somehow. Now, that's not to say that nobody's ever been killed because they knew something, and Big Pharma was afraid of exposing it. No, that's not what I'm saying, and I'm not saying that every single claim about conspiracy theories is untrue. That's not what I'm saying. There is some of this stuff going on, and you've got to deal with it on a claim-by-claim basis. Flat Earth has been debunked by science. The Great Reset and all these things, the problem with those is the pandemic, there's not enough evidence to support it. There just isn't. Chemtrails, again, not enough evidence to support the claim that chemtrails are a thing. The reptilians, David Icke's claims, there's not enough evidence to support it. So my position quite often is that these things are not untrue, but you haven't convinced me that they are true. And there's a big difference, because I don't have to make any claims. Now, the moon landings are a famous one and an interesting one. And this is something that is very difficult to convince a moon hoaxer that the moon landings actually happened. Say, oh, the moon rocks are fake. Oh, there's nothing really up there on the moon. Have you got a high-powered telescope? Have you actually seen it? No, but I've seen them on the internet. There are people that do. Oh no, well, they're all fakes. They're not real. They're not real. They've just, they've just doctored all that to fool you, etc., etc., etc. Yeah. So, with the moon hoax, with the moon landings, my position is, I think it would be implausible that such a hoax was perpetrated. Too many people were involved, too much money was spent. The Saturn V was actually seen taking off, and people actually came back. They brought there's hundreds of hours of footage, etc., etc. The Soviets accept that it happened, and if anybody would blow it, they certainly would. They would say something if, oh, this is a hoax. Yeah, the Americans didn't steal our thunder. We were going to do it. They got there first. Yeah, they really did get there first, and well done to them. So yeah, there's nobody of any credibility backing any of this up. This is the thing. with many of these claims, there's nobody of any credibility backing them up. So yeah, I mean, with my friend now, if he talks about any conspiracy kind of thing, I tend to ignore him and I just wait for it to pass. He'll say a few things. I won't really reply. He knows where I stand. I've told him. And I don't really see that it's my job to analyse his claims. He's got to get out there, publish his papers and raise awareness, but he's never presented anything to me that's been remotely interesting, particularly on flat Earth. Like, there's a treaty which forbids anybody from going out there, and I'm telling him that yeah, you can go to Antarctica, you can go, you can book your flight and you can get out there, and you can go and photograph the scenery and everything. You can do all these things. He says, oh no, there's the military out there, they'll kill you if you get there. But no, I mean, they took some flat earthers out there and showed them the 24-hour-a-day sun. And a lot of those didn't believe it. They said, oh, you fooled us, you tricked us, you've got some technology up there which is recreating it all. It's just infuriating. It's infuriating, and at the end of the day, I think the best thing to do with conspiracy theorists is let them live in their own deluded, paranoid world, and just let them continue to make fools of themselves. And don't dismiss everything. Don't say that no conspiracy is going on, because there are things going on behind the scenes, but I just don't think it's I don't believe in any of the main claims of the conspiracy theorists, that there are aliens in the background pulling all the strings, reptilians and all this kind of thing. I don't believe in any of it. So get me some better evidence. Something better than grainy videos, or or there's some American Air Force video showing something moving off at high speed. No, that's not enough. Get me alien spacecraft and let the world's scientists go over and say, wow, yeah, this is made of something that we can't comprehend. Yeah, this really is not man-made. Yeah, that kind of evidence, that's what we need. Okay, well, that's about it. That's my view on conspiracy theories. So and also this arrogant idea that, oh, you're all asleep. I had somebody say to me recently, oh, if you don't acknowledge chemtrails, you're not awake. Well, I don't acknowledge chemtrails because there's not enough evidence to claim to prove that actually chemtrails are a thing. I mean, look, if the elite are poisoning the atmosphere, they're also breathing it in. Don't be stupid. I mean, unless they're going around with an oxygen tank on their back, or they're in some kind of chamber where they are underground, they're also breathing in this rubbish. And I mean, it's the same with the so-called plandemic. They're also opening themselves up to infection, the elite. So don't be dumb. At least if you're going to have a conspiracy theory, work it out. I mean, make sure that it's sort of consistent and reasonable. Okay, that's enough. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.